Let's move on and talk to Jeff. Jeff in Pennsylvania, you're live with Eric and V. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good, Eric. How are you doing, man?
Doing well.
Okay.
What did you want to talk about today?
Just want to say happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, V.
That. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah,
So what do you want to talk about?
I guess the last time I came across a it was kind of startling to me evidence for God that I don't know, I just sat back and looked at it and was like, wow, I never really thought about it. And I started meditating on it. I was like, wow, that is true. And that was basically love, like the love that I feel for other people and the love that I feel for even people that are in opposition to me, like my enemies and stuff like that.
Jeff,
people are opposing me and
you know you bring that up every time you call.
Now see, wait a minute. Now, Eric, when we got off last time, you said next time I call, don't come up with the same thing. And what my last
No. And I actually So I give you that. It's not the main topic. No, but you always clue in at the end. I love you. I just want to tell you I love you. I'm calling because I love you guys.
Yeah. Maybe that's why it came to me.
Yeah,
I do. I do say that because that's something that I have inside of me. That love that I have for you guys.
Yeah.
Is evidence for the God that is within me.
So I actually did an entire episode on my personal channel on you and this topic.
Yeah, I'm actually curious.
Really?
Have you? Yeah, you could go check it out. It's youtube.com/Eric D. Murphy.
Yeah. It's
a Murphy's Law episode, and you did a whole one. I think just last week.
It's basically I go back over all of these calls or a bunch of these calls and review them, and we talk about where we could make mistakes and all that stuff and how we want to get better.
I can't wait to listen to that.
I can summarize it for you here. And the thing is
okay.
the calling to be an ambassador of Christ is the idea of, because I get it. I was in the culture. V was in the culture too. We understand it. And for those atheists who are watching, we can give this to you. We can tell you exactly what it is. And it's this cultural idea that you need to be because you're wanting to lead people to Christ, you want to be an exemplar. You want to show them Christ's love, and it goes to that agape love, right? Right, Jeff?
Agape is love, yes.
Yeah. Well, it's not any kind of love. It's unconditional love, right?
Why do you say it's not any kind of love? I don't
understand. Because it's different from the love that I have for V. You don't romantically love me, do you, Jeff?
No, sir.
So there are different kinds.
That's why the Greek differentiates.
Exactly.
Right.
It breaks down. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. There's different types of love.
That's what I'm getting to. That's what I'm getting at. And so, so here's the thing. You've called before and we've talked about whether or not God was loving, right? And you actually agreed with me that you wouldn't be as cruel to your children as God is, at least if God existed, to humans. And so
I don't think God is cruel at all.
So you don't think that punishing someone and making them suffer for eternity is cruel?
Yeah, that what you just said is cruel.
I agree. Do you not believe in hell?
Punishing. Oh, yes, I do believe in hell, but not in the way that it's understood by most.
Well, I actually can totally understand that. I absolutely like that you're challenging that idea. Now, if you're challenging the idea of hell, then what's the point of that in the first place? Like, if you're screwing around with the description of hell, then why can't we do that with everything else? I mean, that once you start kind of pulling that thread, the whole sweater unravels eventually. Do you think that original sin is real? Like, the Adam and Eve taking the bite of the apple, that kind of stuff?
A lot of that is true, yes.
Okay, so you think that we are born inherently sinful because Adam and Eve screwed up?
Yeah, we inherit that tendency from the original.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so let me put myself in the place of that God then, because if God is punishing people's children for their mistakes, that means if you do me wrong, should I be justified in beating up your kids? How about your grandkids?
No.
Should I make them suffer?
No.
How about your great grandkids? That's not very nice love. In fact, I think that is an abusive form of love, because it's number one, it's gaslighting. Number two, what you're saying is, because do you think that Jesus, that God suffers, that God hurts when they see people suffering in hell?
I'm sorry, say again?
Sure. Do you think that God hurts when they see people suffering in hell? That God doesn't want you to go to hell?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. How's that different from, it really hurts me when I hit you because it hurts me more than it hurts you, but I when you do wrong, I just have to hit you. That's how it works. And so when you don't listen, then I've got to punish you. So it hurts me more than it hurts you. I promise. I don't want to hit you.
The punishment is self-inflicted.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Do you think if people believed in hell, they would line up to go to hell? Because I'll tell you right now, you're talking to somebody who wouldn't. If I believed that a hell existed, I would rather stop existing than go there.
Absolutely. No one would want to go to hell. Absolutely. But when I say it's self-inflicting, it's because the rejection of love, which is God.
Well, again, we're talking about that love now. So, do you need to give your life over to Christ to enter the kingdom of heaven?
Actually, have to receive life from God.
In the born again way, I get it. But yes or no? Is that a condition to going to heaven?
To receive life, yes.
Okay, perfect. So that means that God's love is conditional. So even by your definition, your God does not demonstrate that agape love. So your God is wrong on the unconditional love part. Your God is wrong on the actually healthy kind of love part. The take of it. Now here's the thing that really matters as far as you're concerned, Jeff. Jeff, I think you're a really great guy. I think that if I would have known you and if you were a neighbor, man. I think you would show up and like if you were my neighbor, I think if I was sick or if I was doing badly, you would show up with like a plate of lasagna. Like you seem like that kind of guy.
I totally would. And guess what? My lasagna is the bomb.
Hopefully someday I'd like to try it. But that said, I think that culturally you're following the rules that you think equate to being a good person. But here's the thing.
Yeah, but I don't get it from culture though.
Well, I see, but if that wasn't something that you learned good people do, then you might do something else. But there are a lot of steps that you're taking, including being polite, right? During this entire conversation, you're taking those steps. And so, Jeff, where I'm going here is I don't think that saying I love you is a good approach. Because
I mean, it's the truth. It's the truth. What do you mean?
No,
why
it's
is
not.
Why is the truth
no, you
not
can
a good
say
approach?
you can say, Eric, I care about you. You can say, Eric, I really want you to become a Christian. But if you say I love you, then isn't that denigrating the idea of love? Isn't that denigrating the idea of Christ's love? Isn't that denigrating the idea of romantic or familial love or friendship love? I mean, if you say you love me, you don't even know me.
I don't think. Say again.
You don't even know me.
What?
If you say you love me, isn't that denigrating?
Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
Sure.
I know, this is how I know Eric. By the times that I've listened to you on your show, that's the extent that I know Eric. Like I didn't hang out with you or anything. We didn't go to dinner. I haven't saw you face to face. But what I've seen of you, I'm telling you, I love you.
Let's say
that's true.
I like you. Because
I like you. All right.
Can
You don't want me to say love.
Can I jump in here real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay. Jeff, I think I want to explain kind of where Eric and I are coming from so that you understand what we hear when you say I love you, right? I fully understand where you're coming from and believe that you mean what you say.
Yeah.
But what
Okay.
we were told
Thank you.
growing up in our separate churches is that when someone says, I love you, especially to somebody who is not a believer, it comes with a lot of judgment. It comes with a lot of placing expectation and requirements on that other person. It comes with a lot of baggage in terms of, I love you, and therefore I am going to cross boundaries that you have set up to try and save your soul. It can be a very, very disturbing word for somebody that when it's been used like that. So when you come to somebody who is not a believer, especially, and you say, I love you, oftentimes that's what they're going to hear, and they're going to close off a little bit. So all we're saying is not, we don't think that you care about us, because I believe you do. We're just saying, hey, the way you're presenting that makes us feel a little icky because of the Christianity that we came out of. So maybe rephrase.
Yeah, and it's not just us. I mean, I hope you understand, historically, this whole, ambassador for Christ sharing love thing was the excuse that the French and the Spanish and the Jesuits gave when they colonialized. I mean, you have entire groups of people, entire civilizations wiped off the earth because you have, colonists coming in who, under the pretense of spreading Christianity, wiped people out. I mean, even this country in the United States, you have a history of kidnapping Native Americans, teaching them English, and then pulling them out of understanding their own language and their own culture. Done in the name of love. We care about these kids. We want to take care of them. We are going to remove them from their culture by force, kidnap them, take them away from their families, and indoctrinate them into our way of existing, often in very harsh and terrible environments, by the way. But see, it is part of a larger pain point in the religion
agenda.
Agenda.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so when you say that, it prickles, not because there's some meanness on our part, but because there's a lot of baggage to that and the way that you're behaving that I don't think actually balances well. I don't think Jeff would do what a lot of other Christians did when they thought they were spreading God's love.
So there's like when there's an agenda attached to the love, that's when all that, it feels like, oh my God, this is so fake, or this is like there's something you don't want because there's a hidden agenda.
Right. If you only had somebody who came up and said, hey, Jeff, I love you. Can I borrow $20? Like after a while, you'd be like, oh, they want $20 every time.
Well,
but okay, this is what juxtapose that kind of love with what is called unconditional love. You see how those are different? I agree. The concept of unconditional love is kind of wild. But I think that those things, and don't just think that it's a fault on people's parts, right? I gave you examples of where in the Bible, the God that I believe you believe in fails on those pieces as well. So I understand the juxtaposition. I just don't understand why that is helpful for you. And also, it doesn't have to be money. It could just be, I want to tell you that I love you because I want to view myself as a good person. And so I want to feel good about.
That's another agenda. That's another agenda. You see how that's another agenda?
Mm-hmm.
In other words, the goal is, oh wow, look how I demonstrated my love. That's fake, man. That's not cool. That's why I said this is such a startling evidence for me that came to me after, multiple times speaking with you guys. I'm saying to myself, where is this? That's really an evidence right there, because I'm feeling this. This is what I believe it is. I believe it's actually the presence of God that dwells with me. And I'm feeling that love that he has for you guys, and I'm expressing it. I'm just in agreement with it, and I'm expressing it to you. That's what it is.
So I've got a question for you then, Jeff.
Go ahead.
So you're saying I'm feeling this love that maybe is a little bit surprising, considering, again, you don't really know us very well. We've had maybe 5 or 6 conversations, but we've never met face to face. So you're feeling, okay, well, I don't know why I feel so strongly about these people, but I feel like I love them. And you're interpreting that as being a part of picking up on God's love for us. What if I were to say to you,
it's more, I'm sorry, I just want to interject this. It's more stark when there's somebody that's opposing me, like somebody that's really my enemy. Like I identify this person as my enemy, and yet I still feel love for them. That's what's like blowing my mind. Like,
do you identify us as your enemies?
No, that's why I'm pointing it out. See, you guys are very. We have had great conversations, and just on that alone, it's like I don't feel like you guys are my enemies. But what I'm saying is, when I encounter people that are actually my enemy, that have my worst interests at heart, and they're trying to hurt me, and I'm still feeling this love for them, this wanting of good for them. That's not me. That's God.
Hold on.
That's a demonstration.
Actually, I want to ask you about that, Jeff. How do you tell the difference between Jeff caring about someone and Jeff tapping into the God channel and tuning in God's love? How do you tell the difference? And is there a way that we can tell the difference, both in Jeff and in ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
This kind of goes to the previous caller. I think you had asked him, sort of a similar question, because he said he came to the conclusion that everything was himself. I don't agree with that, and I know that you guys didn't agree with that, and I don't agree with that. Where I think he went wrong is who I am is my spirit. Like I know my spirit, right? But I also know that along with my spirit is another spirit, which is God himself.
How do you differentiate between what the two are saying? Or are they always saying the same thing?
Well, when this enemy's coming at me and I'm looking at them like, my natural reaction is as the hate that they're showing to me, I'm trying to throw it right back at them initially. But then when I'm feeling this actual love for this person that's trying to hurt me, I'm saying, where is this coming from? Because it's not coming from me.
I think it is.
I realize.
Yeah, you sound like a very empathetic person.
I know you do. You think it's me, right? You think it's me. But see, this is interesting. I was thinking about this too. The collective solipsism of unbelievers in this respect.
Ooh.
All of you guys believe that you guys are real, but you don't believe that the one that I'm bearing witness to, this God, is real.
Well, actually, let's compare those things. Are they apples to apples? I can verify V's existence in a lot of ways. You can too. You're talking to them. We have V on video. V can give you their opinion on things directly. We don't need interpreters.
Yeah, if COVID wasn't a thing, you could fly over to Austin. We could meet up, have a beer.
Yeah. And that goes right back to an earlier call we had. Can you put Jesus on the phone? No.
I can verify this other person that I'm. Hello?
It's a no, Jeff. You can't put Jesus on the phone. You want to give me what you think you can do.
It's not a no for me. And
okay,
I don't
put Jesus on the phone.
You're, huh?
If it's not a no for you, then put Jesus on the phone. We can ask him ourselves.
I am the ambassador for him on the phone.
I don't need an ambassador for V.
Jeff, do you see how, if you were talking about another person, it would seem like the other person wasn't real? It sounds kind of like you're like, I have a girlfriend.
But she lives in Canada.
She's in Canada. She doesn't go to the school. Can I talk to her? Well, no, she doesn't like to talk. The way that we garner information about other things is through the process of interacting and observing and testing. And if we can't do that, then it really is very difficult for us to even contemplate believing in a thing. So for me, if you could prove to me that this God that you're an ambassador to existed, then sure, I'd believe that God existed. Whether or not I'd worship that God is another thing. But right now, it just sounds like you've got a girlfriend in Canada.
Every time you and Eric experience love in your life, life and love are both demonstrations and proof of that spirit, which is love.
Okay, but see, how about this? So you're saying it's proof of God. I'm saying that it's a chemical reaction in my brain. That's what love is. How do we determine who's right? Because we're both making a claim about what love is. It's a chemical reaction and more. And that's what the other caller was trying to allude to. It's more than that. So how would we determine
that
love more? So if we can agree, okay, cool. We can agree that it's a chemical reaction first. And now you're adding something else onto it. And before we can add something on,
hold on. I'm not saying it's a chemical reaction first. I'm not agreeing with that.
Okay.
I'm saying it is a chemical reaction.
We can meet on that point. Whether or not it's first or second, we agree that we can determine that chemicals in the brain are attributed to.
It's important though. That's why I was stopping you. It is important. We can agree though that we both agree that chemical reaction is a reality that's happening. And it's also part of love. I would agree, but it's more than that.
Okay,
That's
so where is this more? Prove this more in the same way we can prove the chemical reactions part, and then I'll buy in. But until then, you're just saying there's more and not backing it up.
The proof is what we experience. You all of us experience that. We're demonstrating it always. Like right now, when I'm talking to you, I'm actually demonstrating mind over matter.
Jeff,
I'm demonstrating the superiority of mind over matter because you're hearing my voice, but what is the volition of my voice? What is that?
I don't understand why that is a suitable response to the talk about love. So to be clear,
love is expressed, right?
So
in other words, like when just simply, like you said, I come on and I say, I love you. And I say that all the time. Right. And you're like, oh, and I'm fine with deferring to Z and you guys. And I'll just say, you know what? I like you guys a lot. That's fine too, because that's valid as well.
It's just,
but where is this? Hold on. Where is this? I love you coming from? And I'm saying to you, it was startling to me to realize it's not coming. I'm in agreement with that statement, but it ain't coming from me.
Yeah. So how do we tell the difference?
That's what I'm saying.
And that goes back to the first question. So we went in a full circle, and that full circle was
circles are cool.
Not on a radio show. We want to try and get in a direction somewhere. So obviously we got lost somewhere along the way, and we had to go back to the beginning. So
we're at the beginning.
Okay, at the beginning. We're going to do this one more time, and then we got to go to the next call because we've been on this one for a while. Jeff.
Okay, cool.
So you're saying that the love you're feeling comes from somewhere else. Okay.
From God, yeah.
Okay. So how do we tell the difference between that love not coming from somewhere else and that love coming from somewhere else?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how you would tell the difference. How do you tell the difference?
Totally understood.
Awesome.
Okay.
That is a great...
The way that I tell the difference is I tried to illustrate how that was. Like when my enemy's coming at me, like my initial reaction and response is...
The effect there, I get. I'm not talking about that. We're talking about the instantiation of it, where it came from. And so if you're specifically saying this love is coming from outside of you, then show us, because here's the difference between the chemical reaction and what you're saying. I'll give you an example, Jeff. And it goes like this: falsifiability. When you say, look at the world around you, that's not falsifiable to the claim. Here's what's falsifiable. I come up with a statement that would not be what your conclusion is. So maybe you're tapping into the God of the Western part of the United States, the eastern part of the United States, right? From Texas on over, there is a God, and that God is channeling love to you for me. And so how do you tell the difference between your God and that God? And even before that, we should probably determine whether or not you can channel love from outside of you in the first place. How do we do that? Because if you can't determine that, then it could be literally anything. I could literally just spout whatever BS comes to mind, and it becomes just as valid as what you're saying with all of the same reasoning you're giving.
My dude. The problem with falsifiability is that truth is unfalsifiable, bro. And I think you know that. That's like axiomatic.
I agree that when you're talking about truth, so you can falsify you can falsify the test. And that's how you determine, right? All of our tools are looking at, is this not true? We're trying to subtract all of the untrue things that we can. That's where falsifiability comes in.
I understand that.
Anyway, watch the video that I put out and let me know what you think. I'm going to be super clear. I do say that I think it's condescending. I appreciate that you called. And the thing is,
guess what I'm gonna end the call on this this time.
If you love me,
I like you guys. I like. Hold on, no.
I like you too.
I like you guys very, very much.
All right, take care, Jeff.
Take care.
Oh, what is love?
Baby, don't hurt me. Yes, please don't get demonetized.